Welcome to the Celtic Myth Pod Show, bringing the tales and stories of the ancient Celts to your fireside. Episode 10, The Harp's Voice Unleashed. Hello, welcome to the Celtic Myth Pod Show. I'm Gary.
And I'm Ruth. Let's tell you how you can contact us. You can email us by sending an email to Gary or Ruth at celticmythpodshow.com, or you can record some voice feedback for us using the Evoca recorder on our website, which you can also find at celticmythpodshow.com. You can also talk to us in our forums or on Twitter, as well as some other ways that we'll talk to you about in a minute.
But first, some news and views. We've now set up a Facebook group and a MySpace page, so all those people that use these networking sites can find us and participate in our growing community quickly and easily. You can find the details of both of these pages on the Contact Us page on our website.
Before the release of our next episode, we're going to be releasing another special episode, our Midsummer Extravaganza. Actually, this episode is coming out on the solstice, so the actual Midsummer show is going to be about a week late. But let's keep the holiday spirit going. Like the Beltane episode, it will have a different format to our normal episodes and include some music and some modern Celtic stories.
We hope you enjoy it. We'd also like to say a big thank you to everyone that's tried to help us with the discussion about the use of accents within our show. After releasing episode 9 without accents, we've really got to close the issue now, so we thought you'd bring you up to speed on what we've decided. Opinion has been divided amongst three camps. There are those that feel they're off-putting, there are those that feel they add to characterization, and there are those that feel that it doesn't matter. So, to try and make everybody happy, we're going to reduce the amount of accent use on the show and concentrate instead on our acting skills. I'm going to have a little skull under my shoulder and talk about Horatio and stuff. And okay, maybe not. But basically, the better we get with the acting, the higher the quality of the drama that you receive. And that would make everyone happy, I think.
Yes, and we hope that you'll enjoy the show even more. Let's move on to a reminder about the story so far.
Mighty Balor, the strong smiter, and the Fomori have invaded Ireland, and the Tuatha De Danaan meet them on the field of battle. After a bloody and epic struggle, Lough kills Balor, and the Fomori are beaten and driven back to the sea. Tired and weary, it is now time for the Children of Danu to count the cost. The shadows seeped away from the dawn light like spilt ale soaking into thick rush flooring, and the weak morning sun slowly revealed the mounds of twisted bodies, discarded swords and splintered spear shafts. The Tuatha De Danaan, weary unto sleep, stumbled through blood-soaked grass, gazing over the sea of death with almost unseeing eyes. They sought friends and kin amongst the dead, and started the grisly task of honouring the dead and bringing peace to the dying. Long they sought amongst the pillars of heads and stones, so many cairns that the plain would be called the Plain of Pillars thereafter, and the Children of Danu counted the cost heavy. They walked all the day through, tending the wounded, and Lough and his comrades were following them. And they came upon Bres, son of Elatha, and no guard with him, and he was sore afraid.
It's better for you to spare my life than to kill me.
What then will follow from that?
If you spare me now, the cows of Erin will never go dry.
I will speak to Maeltine Mor-Brethach. She of the great judgments, and seek an advice from her.
How can I help you, O Lough?
Shall Bres be spared for giving constant milk to the cows of Erin?
He shall not be spared. He has no power over their age or their calving, even if he controls their milk as long as they are alive.
Bres, that does not save you. You have no power over their age or their calving, even if you control their milk. Is there anything else which will save you?
There is indeed. Tell your law speaker they will reap a harvest every quarter in return for sparing me.
Maeltine, shall Bres be spared for giving the men of Erin a harvest of grain every quarter?
This has suited us well till now. Spring for ploughing and sowing, and the beginning of summer for maturing the strength of the grain, and the beginning of autumn for the full ripeness of the grain, and for reaping it, winter for consuming it.
So then, Bres, that does not save you.
Maeltine has spoken bitter truths.
Well, less would rescue you.
What do you mean?
How shall the men of Erin plough? How shall they sow? How shall they reap? If you make known these things, you will be saved.
Say to them, on Tuesday they're ploughing, on Tuesday they're sowing seed in the field, on Tuesday they're reaping, all in regularity.
So then, the deal is struck. You shall be released.
And for the second time, Lough granted Bres his freedom, and speedily did Bres retreat from the field. Little did Lough know that his fate would once more be tied up with Bres the Beautiful. Whilst Lough was talking to Bres, Ogma the champion found Orna, the great sword of the abyss, the sword of Tethra, king of the Fomori. He unsheathed the sword and cleaned it, and then the sword told what had been done by it, because it was the habit of swords at that time to recount the deeds that had been done by them whenever they were unsheathed. And for that reason, swords are entitled to the tribute of cleaning after they've been unsheathed. Moreover, spells have been kept in swords from that time on. And now the reason why spirits used to speak from weapons then is that weapons used to be honoured by men, and were among the only certainties of that time. The sunshine ran along the blade like a river of light, and the spirits that live under the sliding green waves of the sea and the spirits of the storm wind shouted for joy. Ogma held the sword aloft, and thunderous music broke over the earth and died away among the stars. The Dagda used to have a glorious harp that was called Uaitne, and he discovered that it was missing. So Lough and the Dagda and Ogma followed after the retreating Fomori hosts. They came to a feasting house, and in it they found Bres and his father Elatha, and there was the harp hanging on the wall. The Dagda had bound music into that harp, so it would not sound until he would call to it. Sometimes it was called Dur-da-Bla, the oak of the two blossoms, and sometimes Coir-cethan-chuin, the four-angled music. And then the Dagda called to it, chanting, "Come, apple-sweet murmurer, come, four-angled friend of harmony, come summer, come winter, from the mouths of harps and bags and pipes." Immediately, the harp leapt off the wall and flew into his hands, killing 9 men of the Fomori on its way. Oh, in joy he stroked its strings, and then he played for them the 3 noble strains which every great master of the harp should command, namely the strain of laments, which caused the hearers to weep, the strain of laughter, which made them merry, and the strain of slumber, or the lullaby, which plunged all the hearers into a profound sleep. And when he played the laments, their tearful women cried. And then he played the joyful tune, till their women and children laughed. And then he played the slumbering tune. All the hosts fell asleep. With all the warriors asleep, the 3 went away through the Fomor that would have been glad to harm them. And when all was over, the Dagda brought out the heifer he had got as wages from Bres at the time he was making his dun. and she called to her calf, and at the sound of her call, all the cattle of Erin the Fomori had brought away as tribute were back in their fields again. While these three were away, Kay, the druid of Nuada of the Silver Hand, who was sorely wounded in the battle, went southward till he came to calm Corrslebe, and there he sat down to rest, tired with his wounds and with the fear that was on him and the journey. He saw a smooth plain before him, and it full of flowers, and a great desire came on him to reach to that plain. And he went on till he came to it, and there he died. And when his grave was made there, a lake burst out over it and over the whole plain, and it was given the name of Lough. With the Fomori gone, and the field cleared, there were but 4 men of the Fomor left in Erin after the battle, and they used to be going through the country, spoiling corn and milk and fruit, and whatever came from the sea, till they were driven out one Samhain night by the Morrigan and by Angus, that the Fomor might never be over Erin again. And then after the battle was won and the slaughter had been cleaned away, the Morrigan, the daughter of Ermas, proceeded to announce the battle and the great victory which had occurred there to the royal heights of Erin, and to its she-hosts, to its chief waters, and to its river mouths. And that is the reason that Badb still relates great deeds.
Peace up to heaven, heaven down to earth, earth beneath heaven, strength in each. A cup very full, full of honey, mead in abundance, summer in winter, peace up to heaven.
Then the Morrigan pulled her wings in around her, and her voice echoed throughout the worlds as she prophesied the end of the world, foretelling every evil that would occur then, and every disease, and every vengeance.
I shall not see a world, summer without blossoms, cattle will be without milk, women without modesty, and men without valour, conquest without a king, woods without a mast, sea without produce, false judgments of old men, false precedents of lawmakers, every man a betrayer, every son a reaver. The son will go to the bed of his father, the father will go to the bed of his son, each his brother's brother-in-law. He will not seek any woman outside his house. An evil time. Son will deceive his father, and daughter will deceive her mother.
Then in deepening darkness she withdrew into the Fey realms, reuniting once more in balance with her 2 sisters. Lough was made king over the men of day then, and it was at Nos he had his court. While he was king, his foster mother Tailltiu, daughter of the Moimor, the great desert in the Black Land, died. She knew that her death was approaching, and before her death she bade her husband Duach the Dark, he that built the fort of the hostages in Tavir, to clear away the wood of Cuan, so that there could be a gathering of the people around her grave. So he called to the men of Erin to cut down the wood with their wide-bladed knives and billhooks and hatchets, and within a month the whole wood was cut down. And then Lough buried her in the plain of Magh, and raised a mound over her that is to be seen to this day. And he ordered fires to be kindled and keening to be made, and games and sports to be held in the summer of every year out of respect to her. And the place they were held got its name from her, that is Tailltiu. And as to Lough's own mother, that was tall, beautiful Eva, she came to Tavir after the battle of Moitura, and he gave her in marriage to Torg, son of Nuada, and the children that were born to them were Uaitne, mother of Finn, the head of the Fianna of Erin, and Tuiren, that was mother of Bron. And peace and fruitfulness grew within the land, and the children of Danu were content.
All of them, that is, except for one, who had something on his mind. Angus Og, son of the Dagda by Boanna, that is also the River Boyne, was skilled in the arts of love. His dwelling place was at Brún-na-Boyne, that is now called Newgrange on the River Boyne. 4 bright birds that ever hovered over his head were his kisses taking shape in this lovely form, and at their singing love came springing up in the hearts of youths and maidens. Once he fell sick of love for a maiden whom he had seen in a dream. He told the cause of his sickness to his mother Boanna, who searched all Erin for the girl, but could not find her. Then the Dagda was called in, but he too was at a loss, till he called to his aid Bov-Durg, Bov the Red, king of the Danaan of Munster, who was skilled in all mysteries and enchantments. Bov undertook the search, and after a year had gone by, declared that he had found the visionary maiden at a lake called the Lake of the Dragon's Mouth. Angus went then to Bov, and after being entertained by him 3 days, travelled to the lake shore, where he saw thrice 50 maidens walking in couples, each couple linked by a chain of gold. But one of them was taller than the rest by head and shoulders.
That is she. Tell me by what name she is known.
Her name is Cair, daughter of Ethel-Anubal, a prince of the Danaan of Connacht.
Woe is upon me, for I am not strong enough to carry her off from her companions.
My advice, lad, is to go to Eilil and Magh, the mortal king and queen of Connacht, and ask for their assistance. The Dagda and Angus then both repaired to the palace of Eilil, who feasted them for a week, and then he asked the cause of their coming. And when it was declared, he answered that he had no authority over Ethel-Anubal. They sent a message to him, however, asking for the hand of Cair for Angus, but Ethel refused to give her up. So the Dagda, Angus, and the combined forces of Eilil besieged them in Connacht, and finally Ethel fell to them and was taken prisoner.
Now you are our prisoner, and surely you must give up the hand of Cair to me.
Unfortunately, I cannot do that for you, Angus, for she is more powerful than I. She lives alternately in the form of a maiden, and has sworn year in year about, and on the 1st of November next, you will see her with 150 other swans at the Lake of the Dragon's Mouth.
It's Samhain now, and I am here, but the lake is empty. There are no swans here. Cair, oh Cair, come and speak to me!
Who calls me?
It is I, Angus Magh, son of the Dagda and bringer of love. I have been your suitor this long time, yet I still cannot reach you.
Then come with me now, Angus Magh.
As he watched, he felt his arms lengthen and his legs shorten. His head stretched up and he leapt into the water, a milk-white swan. The 2 swans circled each other with their necks entwining, and with a rush of wind the host took off for Angus's home on the Boyne, uttering as they went a music so divine that all hearers were lulled to sleep for 3 days and nights. Many years did pass whilst Lough held the kingship of Erin, and after this time the Dagda was made king in his place. Lough was 40 years in the kingship of Erin after the last battle of Moytura, and there were 27 years between the battles. And then Lough went away out of Erin. Some said he died at Uaitne, the place where the 5 provinces meet, and the first place there was ever a fire kindled in Erin. It was by Mead, son of Bres, that it was kindled, on behalf of the sons of Nemed, and it burned continually through 6 years. And it was from that fire that every chief fire was kindled in Erin. And in our next episode, Lough appears in a vision, and the sons of Mill mass to attack the Emerald Isle. And now for some listener feedback. We've had a lovely email from Faith from Western Massachusetts, who said,
I wanted to tell you about a podcast that I've been flipping over. I got an iPod for Yule this past year and have been trolling the web for fun podcasts to download. At Podcast Alley, I came across a delightful couple in England who read Celtic myths. They do different voices for characters, add in music, and try very hard to pronounce the varieties of Gaelic names correctly. Thus far, they've been working through the Irish Book of Invasions, with a special episode on Beltane that was off-topic. Later, they'll go on to Welsh, Manx, Scots, and other aspects of Celtic myths. Also, they start every show with news related to Celtic folklore and history, and how it relates to the modern day, so it has a feel of being very much a part of the community today, and not someone reading out of a dusty old book. Awesome.
We do try to bring a little bit of news to you, but there's so much that happens within the Celtic world that we don't have time to talk to you about it all on the show. So we try and cover a lot on our website. What else does she say?
Anyway, if you like being read to, if you love Celtic myths and folklore, if you like folk tales in general and you have any way to download and listen to these totally free podcasts, just check it out. Ruth and Gary seem like wonderful people who are very much in the Celtic community and of it.
Oh, that's really sweet, Faith. Thank you. That's really kind of you.
They regularly promote other podcasts and artists, which is so nice to see. Give a listen and pass it on.
Faith, that's an absolutely brilliant email. You've summed up what we're trying to do so well. If we can only share a little bit of the joy that we've experienced with these stories, then our time is very well spent indeed. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Faith.
And now it's time for a promo for a podcast that you might be interested in. It's a fun story by John Lenihan, loosely based on Celtic mythology, and it's called Shadow Magic.
Sidewalk Audio and PatioBooks.com presents Shadow Magic, a podcast novel by John Lenihan. Hello, my name's Connor. A while back, my dad and I got attacked in our living rooms by some lunatics on horseback, and they kidnapped us and took us to Tir na Nog, the mystical land of the ancient Celts, where I found out that Pop was the usurped heir to the throne, my mother was an outlaw sorceress, and everyone in the land wanted me dead because of some ancient prophecy. I mean, don't you just hate when that happens? I'm really John Lenihan, the author and reader of Shadow Magic, a new pod novel on PatioBooks.com. Shadow Magic is a rip-roaring, old-school fantasy adventure very, very loosely based on Irish mythology. So have a listen to Shadow Magic and join Connor as he grapples with typical teenage problems like how to deal with a father's high expectations, how to crash a party full of immortals, and how to get a date with a beautiful girl who literally wants you dead. Shadow Magic is a podcast novel for young adults from 12 to 112. Find it on PatioBooks.com or my website, shadowmagic.co.uk, where the bad guys wear black and the good guys wear night. And yes, I am the same John Lenihan who was the voice of the talking toaster on Red Dwarf.
We'd also like to thank Jo Morrison for her wonderful harp music used in this episode as the Dagda's harp. You can find her at www.tryharpskel.com. That's TRIHARPSKEL.com. And as always, you can find these details in our show notes on the website.
Brilliant.
Well, that wraps up this episode, and until next time, Slán go bhfuil.
You've been listening to the Celtic Myth Pod Show, available from CelticMythPodShow.com. We hope you've enjoyed the show and will stay tuned for the next episode. You can send us a quick email or voice feedback by emailing either Gary, that's Gary, or Ruth, RUTH, at CelticMythPodShow.com. You can chat to us in the forums on our website. The show notes for this episode can also be found on the website. We'd like to say a special thank you to Kulan's Hounds, who provided us with the theme music for our show. You heard Hag Hole at the beginning and are listening to The Skylark now. You can find out more about this foot-stomping band at www.sfhounds.com. And thanks again to Diane Arkinstone and Kim Robertson. whose music has been used for some of the incidental music in this podcast. You'll find links to their websites in our show notes.